So he's their general manager.
Yeah, that's what.
Are they
it is.
trying this out with more football schools or like with the football teams?
Well, but that's a thing. We've had the general manager for KSU on lately.
Oh, that's right.
So
times now.
you know, in the NFL, you hire a general manager and then he
we didn't
hires your
know
head
something.
coach.
Is it time?
In college, well, there was a reason why I said, "Look what the cat dragged in." But you know, so
Check 1 2.
it'd be
I need
interesting
some
to
sound.
see-
Hello, that's better. Say something, somebody.
Check. Testing
Hello.
1 2.
Got them all.
Good.
Hello. Oh, down just a
in
hair.
one of my brackets,
Right,
that
yeah, I like
that's
that.
Not in the money. I'm still at 97%. So that's got to be close to where you are, right?
97%.
Yeah.
You've missed one game, 2 games,
Or you mean like you're in the 97 percentile?
right?
Yeah, yeah, it's what it says.
Yeah.
Right, but that's
97%.
still.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you say. So on the ESPN one,
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm
what
like
I'm talking
99 percentile, but I'm like 20,000.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
70,000.
You're like, man, how many people are doing better than
It's so crazy how
I've got,
many people fill out a
I've
bracket.
got Houston in that one.
I went Houston. Well, so the one game, I don't know why. I for some reason I went St. Mary's over Bama. And then I had BYU over St. Mary's, so I still have BYU. But I'm looking at so I joined my wife's bracket, and her work did it. So there's like 240 people in this bracket. I'm in second place, but everybody around me has Bama, and I think a lot of them have them going to the Final Four. And I was like, that's the game I need on Thursday.
But you got Houston.
I got BYU.
But you got Houston winning it all.
Yeah.
So that's really once again
No,
because
you're right. Yeah,
you
but
know.
still, like, like if BYU could somehow pull
Oh
it
yeah,
upset,
no,
I'm like,
that'd be huge.
So we'll see.
I can install you at 9 a.m. on Friday morning.
So you have Houston in our bracket?
Yeah,
So I've got Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, I had-
I
I had
have
Clemson.
them. I have Houston
Clemson.
over Florida.
Oh, really? Clemson was my long, dark horse.
Oh,
They
really?
got beaten. I only missed like 3 games on the first day. But
Yeah,
when you lose for somebody that's got in the Final Four,
right.
too many other people have
I
picked
couldn't-
Florida. That
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it.
yeah, I couldn't either. So once again, I may pick the winner and still not
have to
win.
be
That's
ready.
usually the way my brackets work
Yeah.
out.
To leave the house by 8:15.
How's everything else? You
Just the
doing all right?
rundown for today.
Huh?
Oh, it was just one. Wait, can I glance at it again real quick?
Yeah. Larry, you got another copy of the...
Oh. Yeah, everything's going good. How about you?
All right.
Slam dunk apps.
Didn't you travel somewhere with your boys?
Went to Boston.
How was that?
That's fantastic. Walked 26.5 miles in 2.5 days. We,
Yeah.
And he still said it was fantastic. That's a good
That's
trip.
still a lot of walking.
And
You
it
watched
was-
26 miles and you're still
Winslow
happy
was
about it.
14 too when we did it. So.
Oh wow. What,
Yeah.
did you catch a basketball or hockey game at all?
But he just moved up there first week of February. My oldest son,
Okay.
And
Oh,
so-
that's right. I remember saying that. Well,
Yeah.
where's he living?
Somerville.
Okay.
So he's 3.3 miles due north of Fenway. So we walked to Bunker Hill and then walked to
Can you imagine?
we did
Breeds
the
Hill.
Freedom Trail.
Oh,
And
okay.
the second day we walked over to Harvard and walked around campus.
Yeah.
And the third day Chip had to work, so Kevin and I took an Uber into Fenway and did the tour, and then walked back to MIT and walked 10 miles back to his house.
Yeah.
I was exhausted after 3 days.
You know what I love about history is that even when they get it wrong, they still keep up with the same wrong answer. You know, where did this Bunker Hill? But it was on Breeds Hill, not Bunker Hill, and everybody knows that. But we still call it the wrong thing.
It was a cool tour. I mean, the Harvard Museum was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see Matt Damon doing like crazy math formulas at MIT? Right? I was
We
listening.
didn't go into the MIT. We had just spent $30 to go to the Harvard. We wanted to spend another 30 to go to the MIT.
Have you guys ever heard the comedy routine where it's Louis C.K. talking about what's the name of that movie? Great Good
Oh,
Will Hunting.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
It is one of the
But
great.
I like Louis C.K.
Oh my God, it's so funny. He goes, so this is a great movie. There's only one problem. He wrote the fucking script. So of course he can figure math out. And of course, and he goes into the whole thing where, hey, do you like apples? Well, I got her number. How you like those apples? He goes, the whole joke hinges upon this guy who knows he's being set up going, yes, I like apples. If the guy says no, there's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can come out. So it's like, as amazing as it is, you stop and you go, well, he wrote the script. Of course he's the smart guy who gets the beautiful girl and solves problems that people have spent their whole life trying to. It's just really funny because I've always thought that's like one of my top 20 movies. I love that movie.
Good Will Hunting?
But when you listen to Louis C.K. talk about it, you're like, it's got a couple valid points. Yeah. I'm a tough guy. I come from the South Side. I'm a construction worker, but I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant beyond imagination, and everybody wants to mess with me, but I'm a renegade. I do what I want. And then the greatest line ever. You like apples. If the guy says anything, no, I'm allergic to those. No, I'm more of a banana guy. If he says anything, he's got nothing. There's nothing else you can say. So the guy looks at him. I can't lie about this. I love apples. Yes, I like. Just freaking hilarious.
I only saw that movie once.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. Love that movie.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Miller's Ale House for another wonderful Wednesday. It's so pretty outside. My name's Chuck Burge, along with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. Robert, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. And we're hosting our podcast called Three Guys Who Love Sports. It's a show to help support guys that are going through physical and mental issues. And if we can help take their mind off what they're going through for an hour a week, and you help somebody, and they help somebody, and
you tell two friends, and they tell two friends,
and this world
so
will be a
on
better
and
place.
so on and so on.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, I got another big celebration today. Today is my daughter-in-law, Andrea's birthday. She's 29 years old today. So I know she's not watching, but I love you and happy birthday up there in Boston, Mass.
And I know this is not my place to ask, but is it her first 29th birthday?
Yes, it is.
Because I know
is.
some women have multiple 29th birthdays.
Very many, 29. But this
I'm 29 to the 10th power.
And holding. Yeah. But this is indeed her 29th birthday. So happy birthday, Andrea.
Very nice, very nice.
Like we said, very happy to be here at Miller's. I went back to my original Mimi's Fiesta Bowl this week, minus the shrimp. What'd you do?
I ate some wings not too long ago, so I just went dessert.
Oh, wow.
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack will get you high tonight, as far as I know. That's Billy Joel, but I don't know. It's a brownie. It's got some hot fudge on it. It's right down my avenue.
Yummy. That sounds good. Larry, how about
Should have
you?
gone Captain Jack.
I went with the Cobb salad.
I heard you say that, but when you ordered it,
Wait, is that Will or is that Larry?
he said it very quietly, like he was worried about like what somebody behind him was going to think if he ordered
Cobb
it.
salad.
I'd like a Cobb salad. Don't tell anybody. I got street cred. I don't want to lose.
All right, well, we got a lot of sports to get to today, but before we get started, let's have a Ron Smith commercial.
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about it next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up. But you can lock in a price today and take this final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of this final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you, so please contact our friend Ron and his team at 440-561-0758.
What is that number?
440-561-0758.
And we thank you, Ron Smith, for being a sponsor of Three Guys Who Love Sports. And let's welcome back our good friend, Mr. Mike Palmquist.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Man, look at that crowd. That's something else.
They love
They
Palmquist.
follow me.
How can they not?
Can I tell a quick story about what Robert said about women having multiple 28 birthdays?
Or
28-year-old
29.
Yeah. My 6-year-old son 2 years ago asked my wife how old she is. She said 28. He believed her. So fast forward, I have to plan a 30th birthday party for my wife in October this year.
Because
it's
he's
become
still
a
on that
running
page.
joke. He still believes it.
So my wife did that too. My daughter knew that my wife was in her 40s and knew that like at age 4, but then Stormy started telling her, oh yeah, I'm 29, right? And then it just became ingrained, and she was so devastated when she was like, what do you mean you're not? I said, well, honey, if she was 29, that means she had her, your sister when she was 12. You're really good at math. I know you can do this for us, but
My funny age story is when I was in my 40s, Kevin used to tease me about being, Dad, you're almost 70. And now here I am a year and 3 months away from being 70. So that,
dang you, Kevin.
yeah, there you go. All right, so let's get into some sports. Saddest news of the week for me is George Foreman's death. George was a great boxer, but I think he delivered probably one of the funniest lines I've ever heard on Johnny Carson one night.
What was that?
I can't remember who was boxing, but Johnny says, is this guy any good? And he said, man, I hope not.
That's what you're supposed to. That's what you're supposed to hope for.
Exactly. I hope he sucks. And of course, Carson loses it. He thought that was pretty funny. So
It's so funny watching him because so many people only know the big, fat, bald-headed guy with a little cooker. But when you go back and you see the '68 Olympics and the early, the Rumble in the Jungle or the Thrillum and any of those types of old fights that he was in, and you see the guy with the fro and the big mustache and stuff. He was a much different looking guy, very intimidating. I was reading some stats on him earlier. He had an incredible run right after the Olympics, and he won Olympic gold in '68.
68. Yeah.
So Ali in '60, Frazier in '64, Foreman in '68. The three of them gold. Pretty cool the way
Pretty
it all.
good trio.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow.
But when they were going through the early part of his career, it says here, in '71, Foreman won 7 more fights. You think about how often people fight nowadays, where you might get, 1.2 fights a year, because you're at least separating it by 9 months.
Yeah.
This dude's just beating everybody up. At the end of that year, he was 32-0 with 29 knockouts. It's
And
like,
he won his last championship at 46 or 47 years old.
Yep. And still made more money on the grease-free cooker.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say I didn't follow many of his fights, but his Foreman grill got me through college. So it was
There
great.
you go. And as it did many people. I think my stepson is still a little sad after. Are they going to keep making it, or do I have to keep the one I have?
So, George Foreman, we thank you and rest in peace, man. We appreciate everything you did for the boxing world and the sports world and the kitchen. So we'll leave it at that, right?
All the above.
Yeah. So some big football news out this week. We had Stephon Diggs signed 3 years with the Patriots yesterday. I texted Brent. He said, whoa, I like this. So he was happy about Stephon going to his Patriots.
Well, he had nobody to throw to last year. You want to judge a rookie quarterback who's got garbage all around him. I'm not sure Stephon Diggs is the guy to bring them to the next level, but at least it's a target for the young man.
For Drake May.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Or possibly the kid from Tennessee if Drake May doesn't work out so well.
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton.
Yeah. So who is it? Somebody else went to the Giants. Russell Wilson
Yep.
went to the Giants.
Which, they're the New York Football Giants. They are as dumb gets. And I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback, but last year you look at the Steelers. The Steelers got Justin Fields for $500,000 a year, and Wilson for 1.5. So they had those two quarterbacks for a total of 2, and that's why you're successful, because you didn't pay a lot of money, and then the Giants will give him retail. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Isn't Fields with the Jets now? So
He definitely
Yeah.
left. He definitely left.
I think you got the 2 Steelers quarterbacks going against each other in
New York. In New York.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they play each other this year, but at least
Probably not.
from a media perspective, they'll be going against each other. And Aaron still hasn't signed with anybody. I know one guy from the Steelers said, "Dude, do you want to be a Steeler? Or do you don't?"
So if he doesn't sign, what do you think the Steelers do at QB? There's nobody left.
Kirk Cousins.
Well,
trade for
then,
Cousins.
then, they
Cousins.
have, then they have to draft. I
So,
mean, you
so
know,
like trade up probably.
possibly, but that's not their MO either.
their
So
thing, yeah.
the other one that's an interesting, everybody thought Russell Wilson would probably end up going to Tennessee. So
Yeah.
Tennessee still got nothing. So if ever there was a place for Mr. Rogers, just bring his neighborhood down to Nashville, and luckily there's such little.
But Levis is still in Tennessee, right? Will Levis, didn't he beat us with 5 touchdowns in his very opening game?
And I think he
What
has
happened since?
nothing since.
Exactly. He used himself all up in one game. Yeah.
Well, that's the Falcons' MO.
And I actually watched an NFL mock draft last night. I can't believe they're already doing mock drafts, but they've got one in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what are we, 4 weeks away?
4 weeks away. Can't wait.
Yep.
Mike, you going to be on that show and make a pick for us?
Oh yeah, love to.
23rd.
So what we do is we'll draw your name out of a hat, and
The
you will
week
be
before.
pick number 7, which belongs to the Cardinals.
Oh.
And so you'll be the Cardinals GM. You have to show up that night, and then you might think you know who you want, but
Right.
you have to go by who the first 6 people were taken
Oh wow.
here on the show. So that'll change.
yeah.
It changes.
That'd be
It-
fun.
it-
We got
it is
4
fun.
spots left. You want to one of them?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
in. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, football never really quits. I mean,
It doesn't.
as much as we like to say it does, it doesn't. There's always something exciting. Very excited for the draft. Didn't get into the combine this year as much as I had.
I didn't either,
past.
but I just saw something right before the show started. Cam had his pro day today.
Cam Ward.
And he said, I left no doubt that I am the number 1 pick. So be it. I wasn't there. I didn't watch it. But if you don't have that brash, I'm the one, do you really want somebody as a quarterback?
Well,
Yeah, good point.
in the mock draft last night, him and Sanders went 1-2. First 2 places as quarterbacks.
Most important position in sport.
Yeah.
There's only 32 of them in your team. If you don't have a good one, man, does it show.
And
Tennessee.
I've seen some mock drafts go back and forth where the Giants are going to take Sanders and the Browns will take Sanders. If I'm the Browns, I take Sanders because the argument is Deshaun Watson. They still have that heavy contract, but aren't they just one more year and then they can cut him for like the dead cap money's not as bad. Like,
Correct.
it's-
And going back to what you've seen on mock drafts, does that change now that the Giants have Russell Wilson? Are they looking for something different at this point? Maybe they go offensive lineman, trade back. Who knows?
That's funny you say that. I saw one after Russell Wilson signed. And they said that they were convinced they're still going to take Sanders. I'm like, so you signed Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, and you're going to draft
And then
Sanders?
you're gonna draft
That was
Sanders.
interesting. I was, okay.
That sounds
They
like a
look at
Falcons
the
move.
Falcons blueprint, exactly.
Our neighbor Joe is going to be thrilled.
Yeah, Joe came by last week. He's actually going to be on the guest. He's going to be one of
He's
the
gonna be one of
the
birthday
GMs
boy
too,
today.
Yeah, it is his birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Mr. Montaneo.
Yeah, you and Andrea. Y'all must be the same age.
I think not.
All right. Other exciting news that happened this weekend. We now have a champion in Atlanta. This golf league, whatever the heck it is. What is a hammer? I watched the thing for an hour last night and couldn't figure out what a hammer was.
I can't watch that stuff. I mean, I don't mind if the 5 of us went and played it.
Right.
That would be fun, but I can't watch it on ESPN like I'm watching a sport.
Yeah,
I completely
it's
agree.
like being at Dave and Buster's, and that's all it is.
Well, and
And
once
other than
again,
it's pros playing.
my uncle Joe. Hey, everybody needs an Uncle Joe.
I got an Uncle Joe.
My Uncle Joe's been a good scratch golfer for 50 years, but that. There's no pros who are, and occasionally they do have a pro who shows up, but I'm not about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see.
I watched about 10 minutes of one of the events last month, and I really couldn't follow along. It looked like they were at Top Golf just having a good
That's
time.
it. That's it.
honestly.
That's it. It's at SoFi Stadium is where it was, right?
Yep.
It's called the SoFi Bowl or something like that. So, congratulations to Arthur Blank, though. 'cause
I
Arthur
loved
has
it.
got him.
I thought it was pretty good.
That figures.
Well, that's because you're on a golf show.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah. All right. Other thing happening. Well, how do you feel about the transfer portal? We're going to get into the brackets in a little bit, but transfer portal's open during March Madness.
And in football, it opened in December during all the bowl games. So we'll get into my thoughts on portals a little bit later in the show, but you gotta get this stuff timed right. you can't have this. You know, did you see who the first person into the portal was? Basically, Scottie Pippen's son.
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen's son plays for Michigan. Now he hasn't played in the last couple weeks. I think his last game was a week before the Big Ten tournament.
I think it was USC.
Yeah, something like that. But the fact of the matter is that your team is alive in the Sweet 16,
Right.
and you know if you blow your ankle out, could happen. All of a sudden, hey Pippen, we need you in. Sorry, he's in the portal now. So you know, it's
So
just.
it's not like in football, you could still be with the team if you.
I think he can still play.
From what I understood, he wasn't going to be there, but I don't know that for sure. The article I read made it sound like he is not going to be traveling with the team.
Because with the bowl games, the coach or they get the option to play.
Yeah.
Right, like he was saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So during the, but either season, whether it's football or basketball, something needs to be done. They can't be having portal
Agreed.
while this is going. They said over 1,000 people have already put into the portal
Yeah.
from basketball. That's ridiculous.
I'm waiting for. I was waiting for somebody like, you know, their team was still in the tournament to do that, but I'm waiting for someone more of like a sixth man type, or what Robert was saying, like second off the bench, still has a pretty big role. And he's like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah,
And then-
yeah.
then you have
Arizona
an
goes
injury to a
7
starter.
deep, and
Yeah.
their 7th guy is now looking
Although
to go
they're not in any
to
playoffs,
UConn.
Adrian Woolley, Conference USA, Player of the Year from KSU,
Freshman of the year.
entered the portal today. So he's gone.
And I've known that one was coming.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't say it because I don't want to be the guy who's, you know, you jinx the KSU guy. But clearly, you know, there's a guy, and you know, we have some inside information, being that we are KSU people, and we were told earlier that they were trying to put a package together to be competitive and everything else. You can't be competitive if the kid is that good, which he is. We loved you for 1 year. You know what? UConn's got some money to bring you as your 6th guy. You know, just kind of like our old friend of the show, Mr. Youngblood.
Chris Youngblood.
You know.
South Florida, then Alabama.
Yeah, and you know, playing in the tournament, looking good. You know, he led the team in scoring this past weekend. There's so much money out there for that kind of stuff. So, cheers to you. Thanks for the memories, but sad.
Don't let the tail door hit you in the butt.
I'm not going to say don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, but
There you go.
at the same time, however that goes.
All
however
right.
that goes.
Well, we're going to get into some March Madness here in a minute, but let's go ahead and get a couple of commercials down.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law, while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile, and personal injury law. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they're placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095. That's right, 706-217-2095.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol
Products.
All right. And thank you, Joshua, and thank you, Brian, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. And don't forget, coming up at 7 tonight, we have the Owl Show, the Owls Who Live Sports, with Peter Chung, the Director of Player Personnel for the KSU football team, be joining us tonight. So that should be very interesting. But as for now, let's get back into some college basketball. When you feel so good about your bracket and you've won the first 5 or 6 games, and then all of a sudden one of your Final Four gets beat on the first day, you kind of lose the luster for watching the game.
I just want to remove myself from the entire conversation that you're having, because in 3 of the last 4 years, I've lost the opening game as I did this year. So literally starting out 0-1 to start the tournament. The very first game on Thursday, loss. Did it this year, did it last year, did it 3 years ago, I think. So
Yeah, but there were some really, really great basketball games this weekend.
very good. Very
The
good.
Maryland game was the one that really was, for me, a lot of fun to watch. And I can't remember who they played.
They
The Crab
played
Five,
Colorado
Colorado
State.
Colorado State, that's right. And then Colorado hit the 3 to go ahead by 1. And then the guy comes down, Derek.
Derek Queen.
Yeah, the freshman. Did he walk?
He did not. He didn't walk.
Did he run?
Did he create a new sport with what he was doing?
New sport.
What I
I
read was that they don't call that, or that sorry, what he did. I forget
It's
the
a
terminology for it.
gather.
Carryover.
It's a
Gather,
gather step.
They only call that in the NBA and Euro.
The first one is a gather step because he didn't have the ball secured, and then he took 2 steps and shot it.
The worst
was
part
terrible.
about that game, a friend of the show who's texted us before that you need to cover the border war and all these other things, my friend Vogler, went to Colorado State. So, they hit that shot, and I was like, I sent a message to my buddies. I was like, I think Vogler just died. And then I thought, wait, they might actually think. I was like, Colorado State just hit a 3. And then that next one, I was like, okay, he's definitely dead now. Yeah, and if he didn't die from the excitement 2 seconds ago, he is dead from everything else now. But yeah, that was an incredible game.
The other game was UConn and Florida. Really very entertaining
game.
basketball game to watch.
And interestingly enough, we talk about how difficult it is to put this 64 team nightmare together. But if you're Florida, you dominated the SEC tournament. Should probably be the number 1 overall seed. You got to look at that game and go, oh, thanks for giving me the 2-time defending champ in the second round. But it was a great game. They just they got lucky, pulled it out, and
UConn led most of the second half. I think it was tied at halftime, right?
It was tied at 31 at halftime.
And then UConn played very, very well. I mean,
They did.
you can't fault them. It was a fun basketball game to watch.
well, that's a talented team. There's a reason why they cut down the nets the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
but they're gone.
That's how I felt watching Houston play Gonzaga, because didn't they like 8 or 9 years in a row in the Sweet 16. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's a tough second round matchup too.
Absolutely.
Well, UConn broke a big streak, right? They had won 19 straight or
Yeah.
something like that.
It wouldn't have been that long. It would have been
Gonzaga had been
13 straight.
Sweet 16s.
No, UConn won 13 straight games in the NCAA tournament.
Oh yeah, correct.
Oh, yeah.
Because they won
Yeah.
6 and 1. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a heck of a streak. Most people. I actually watched a show on. It's called The Other Hurley. It's on ESPN. It's a show on him, and his dad was one of the best high school coaches ever.
Yeah.
And then Bobby, being Bobby, and then here's the other Hurley.
Yeah.
And the guy faced a lot of self-doubt. Like way more than you would think. Somebody who's fairly successful head coach at UConn, whatever, so he now feels like he's part of the family because, he was just in everybody's shadow forever. So,
So it's unusual that all 4 ones are still in. Nobody's been upset. So it has been pretty much chalk, right?
All 4 ones made it to the Sweet 16 last year as well.
Yeah, but it's unusual that so many teams. It could still be 1-2. St. John's is the only 2 that's out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
which we kind of thought could happen possibly.
Well,
At least part of this
some
table
of us did. This part did not.
Part of this table
I
did.
said that.
Yeah.
You said a lot of things.
Yeah, cling to something you're right about, because that's not much.
I said that St. John's and teams like St. John's on average win 1.68 games per tournament.
Correct. You used a couple percentages as you were telling me about all those ACC teams that were going to start tearing through this
I
tournament.
did not say that.
Yep, yep.
And
We'll go back to the Clemson and Louisville tape afterwards.
Louisville, they'll be home. Then not only they're going to beat, who was it they lost to? Creighton.
They're gonna take
also
out
gonna beat-
Auburn.
yeah, they're
I
gonna
said
take
they
out
had a chance.
No,
At the
you
end of
Didn't
the
say they were going to
You
win.
picked them in your bracket going to the
I
final
picked them in
16.
a bracket, yes.
Well, fill out 19 brackets and get 19 answers.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a reason why they call it March Madness. You can't predict this stuff.
Absolutely not.
I told you Georgia was going to get smoked, though, and they did.
Everybody thought that.
Everybody
You're
thought-
hanging.
I
You're
did.
hanging
You
your
didn't
hat.
say that last week. I think you
I
said
did.
when Gonzaga plays nobody, and nobody in their conference tournament.
No, you'll have to actually listen to something that somebody says. I did say they were going to lose right off the bat. That was one of the few things I did say about the SEC. SEC is going to do really well. I got all of them into my Final Four, but Georgia will not be making it to the second round. That's a different story. So who do you like right now? It's kind of hard for us to change our picks since all our picks are still
She's
alive.
still in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I told you. I mean, Mike is leading our pool. He missed one game first day. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
15 and 1.
yeah.
And I was throwing the jinxes out of him. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, he's 8-0. Nobody can stop him. He's like, leave me alone. Quit talking about me.
So
Yeah.
I think I'm 41-7.
That's
so
pretty
far.
good.
I mean, best I've ever done by far.
So, who are your
But
final four, Mike?
This is the first time ever I've gone 4 1 seeds. I didn't feel good about it.
you went
but-
all 4 1 seeds? Yeah.
But now I feel much better about it.
Everybody that's got one seed should be, yeah. For me to win, so I've got Florida winning it all. You've got.
I went
you've got
Houston over
Houston,
Florida.
right? Yeah, and I've got Florida over Duke in my finals.
Okay.
Yeah. And as long as Michigan State gets in, who was my pick, if they beat
As
Auburn,
yeah.
I still got a shot.
They seem to be the popular 2-seed pick.
Michigan State.
over Auburn.
Yeah. Oh, and that
I
was
don't have
another
them
great
winning.
game.
I don't have them making to that
I
game.
love the Arkansas St. John's game, just for the Calipari Patino thing. That was a really, really cool game.
No, but at the same time, and we talked about it last week, how difficult St. John's does so well, and then you go, hey, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and give you Kansas or Arkansas in the second round. And I know once you get to the second round, all bets are off. But man, if you're a 2 seed and they go Kansas is your 7, and you look over at Tennessee being a 2 seed, they got UCLA, Utah State winner. Not exactly the same as having to deal with Kansas or Arkansas.
And you talked about the toughest 1-2 would be Duke and Alabama, and I was totally wrong because I said I thought it'd be Florida and St. John's, and then St. John goes out in the second game.
And once again, I didn't think that was the toughest bracket, just the toughest 1-2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which Bama, they led the nation in
And
scoring.
you got Bama winning, right?
I do.
So we all three have somebody different.
Who do you have in beating?
I have the Final Four of Bama, Tennessee, and on the other side, Florida and Auburn. And
You went all SEC.
I went all SEC, and I went all Alabama for the final. It's Auburn, and Bama. But once again,
Bama's a team to watch. They were there last year.
well, you also, when you look at different things and you look at it in its big scope and you go, wow, that's going to be impossible. But then I watched a show that was talking about Duke back in '91, and they said, Krzyzewski said, no, just worry about these 2 games. These are the 2 games you worry about. And then these 2 games. Grant Hill was interviewed, and he goes, I didn't even realize we were going to play UNLV until after we cut down the nets, because he had them, don't look at that big tournament board. You just look at the small thing. So I think Bama or any of these teams can take care of it from that standpoint if they got a good enough psychiatrist running the show.
Ought to be some good ball games this weekend. Yeah. And they start tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
Brown night.
2
Loving
games
it.
tomorrow night, 2 games Friday. That's interesting.
First game's BYU,
Should be
Alabama.
four-
I need
4-4,
BYU. I had them in the
4
Elite
and
Eight.
2 and 2 on the weekend.
Yeah.
On Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got nothing to do on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a good weekend to be home, right?
Or come to Miller's Ale House.
And watch the games here.
Hang out with Marley. Give her all your extra money. There you go. She's all about it.
Or Sean. We can split some with Sean.
Absolutely.
Do you guys think with the NIL and transfer portal how it is now, we'll see cleaner tournaments going forward, like less upsets?
So I read an article today.
I think that's part of the problem.
There is no Cinderella.
Yeah.
Every team that is in the Sweet 16 in the men's and women's bracket are all Power 4 teams. And you go, well, how's that possible? Because when there is a Adrian Woolley or a Florida FIU from was that last year or the year
Glad
before?
Golden FIU was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. But, that's a team that, you go, wow, maybe they're, one's at Purdue, one's at Maryland, one's, they win everywhere where the money is. So it's going to be the idea that a Butler made it to 2 straight Final Fours or whatever. That it's not going to happen unless they change the rules drastically.
I totally agree with
Yeah,
that. And
I agree.
That's why it's been mostly chalk. And
Yeah.
I think it will be continuously now, unless, like you said, they make some changes.
You can get a one-off like FIU did, but you're
Yeah,
never
but that was
gonna,
kind of the beginning of the NIL thing.
It was, but at the same time, that's still a possibility because you can recruit the wrong people and somebody else can do something. But the idea that a school could, come forward again next year and show you, man, it wasn't luck. No, it'll be luck because they're all gone.
You got to make changes. You got to make them quick.
Purdue is the only team in the Sweet 16 that doesn't have a transfer on their roster.
Is that by choice? Their coach just doesn't like it?
No, he doesn't take transfers.
Right, so it's his choice.
So it is by choice.
He'd rather home grow players. He's got 4 of the starting 5 are from Indiana.
And I think that's a beautiful thing, but just like Dabo, sooner or later you better jump on board if you do what everybody else is doing. Dabo avoided.
And also, I don't think he even picked Purdue to win the first game in our bracket.
Well,
I didn't in that bracket. That was the only bracket that I didn't.
How
contemplated
many
that one.
returning players for Purdue were on the team last year, championship game?
Everybody returned.
Okay.
Actually, no, we lost. We lost
Lost
2
a big
people.
guy to the
We lost Zach Edey to the pros and Mason Gillis to Duke. But other than that, we have everybody back.
So, given everything you've watched, would you change your pick?
No.
I like my picks because, as Mike and I were discussing, you have Florida, right?
Yeah.
So to win this tournament, if Florida is the best team, which clearly could happen, you had to dominate last weekend because so many people have Florida. So even though he's way out ahead, it really doesn't matter because if Houston wins, he's still going to go flying past everybody. So I'm okay with my pick, just from the standpoint that, I'm the only Bama guy. I got a buddy who picks Kansas every year. He did not pick them this year.
I was smart.
But he typically goes with Kansas. And you go, why would you pick that? Because I'm the only one who picked it. If they go forward, I'm going to win the money. Yeah. So I was like, well, it's better than trying to figure out.
So they won in 1985. That was the only time I've ever won a bracket. And so I pick Kansas every year. This is the first year since '85 that I haven't picked Kansas.
That's funny.
That I've done a bracket.
Matt Bradford's not far behind you.
The only pick I regret was I went St. Mary's over Alabama for some reason. So now I have BYU in the Elite Eight. I would probably go Bama going to Elite Eight if I had to do it over
So
again.
you don't have them in the Elite Eight?
No.
So you'll lose a little points.
So I need BYU to win
But
tomorrow.
like Robert said, I've got Florida, and I very well could pick the winner and still come in 4th or 5th in the pool because of picking Clemson and them getting beat out.
And I'll say the only pick that I regret, because I really was positive I didn't make that pick, and I was heartbroken when I saw it, was I said that I didn't think St. John's was going to do it. I picked St. John's over Arkansas, and I'm like, I talked about that game. How did I? But I didn't click it the right way.
That's all right.
That was one of those games like at halftime. I'm like, should have gone with Arkansas.
A lot of stuff we can discuss, but you know what? Let's give our brains a rest and do a brain train commercial.
That sounds like a plan.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit BrainTrainCentersInc.com.
Thank you, Melissa, for being a sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. Back with Mike and Robert, and we're into our greatest athletes discussion now, and we're all the way up to number 53. And I got 3 really. Number 1 was Mick Tingelhoff, but I went center last week with Mike Webster, so I found it very hard to go back-to-back centers as the greatest athlete to ever wear number 53.
But at the same time, just to go ahead and give Tingelhoff his just due, he was the center for the Vikings his entire career, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. So, once again, All-Pro means they're only picking one guy at that position. So, 5 different years by his peers, he was called the best center. And then when you think he played between 62 and 78, so that's 4 Super Bowls. Now, did they win any of them? No, they didn't. But he still was the anchor of the line that took him to all those. So kudos to Tingelhoff. I didn't actually know that much about him until this week. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah. The little search.
Him and Webster were always the 2 best centers as far as I know.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
All right. My other ones is Don Drysdale, as Mike mentioned. Don died on my 37th birthday when he was 57 years old. I always loved Don. He didn't pitch as long as I thought he had. He had like 201 wins, 209 wins, and 166 losses. That's a good career.
14 years. The biggest problem with Don Drysdale is I believe he was actually the second best pitcher in baseball for a few years.
Behind Sandy.
Behind his own teammate. And when you're behind your teammate and people look at you and they go, you're not even the best guy on your team. Yeah, but I'm the second best guy in the whole league. And I think that's kind of where he was.
My dad grew up in Minneapolis, and he got to go to the World Series when the Twins played the Dodgers one year in the early 60s. And got to go game 1 and 2. Koufax, Drysdale back-to-back, and that's how I knew about Don, because he still talks about it to this day. It was the most amazing experience as a
absolutely.
kid, just watching both those pitchers.
Because the Dodgers won both of those games.
Yeah. It was a pretty quick series from what I remember.
63 series, maybe 64.
Yeah. I saw Koufax pitch one time here in Atlanta against
He's
Denny
still alive,
Lemaster. I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, that's all right. 10 innings. Denny Lemaster and Sandy Koufax, we beat him 2-1. They both pitched 10 innings, too. You don't see that anymore,
No.
right?
Not at all.
But my number one guy, and I can't wait to hear yours because you said you got somebody different. Mine is a New York Giant. That would be Harry Carson.
You didn't need to put on your glasses to say that, did you?
No, I needed
Okay.
you to read my stats.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have to look at what his name was.
No, I knew the name. Yeah, all right. So he played 13 years, 166 starts, 11 interceptions, 212 yards, and elected to the Hall of Fame in 2006. 19 sacks, 1 Super Bowl ring, and something else no other inside linebacker did. He had a receiving touchdown in 1968 for 13 yards. And as far
Something
as I know-
something else I believe he did, and this is just off the top of my head, so
Not win?
I could be wrong. Well, when you look at it, when you look at his stats, he played between 76 and 88, so he had a 13-year career, all with the New York Football Giants. And when you're a middle linebacker, you don't get stats. The only thing you usually get is tackles. But in that particular defense that they had set up, he didn't get a lot of tackles. But you know what he was part of? He was part of the very first Gatorade bath after a Super Bowl. When in '86, the first person to ever get doused was Bill Parcells, and I do believe it's
Carson's
hair.
the one-
There was a couple people holding it, but I believe Carson was one of them.
Well, that clinches it. He's my favorite number 53. Greatest athlete. If he can lift that Gatorade bucket and dump it on Bill Parcells, he's the winner.
Hey, it's become a Vegas bet now. I mean, you know somebody's getting the shower, and then
And what color is the Gatorade?
and that's the bet. It's always what color is the Gatorade.
Yeah.
Any good race car drivers nowadays?
I don't have a good race car driver. 53 is a hard number.
It's not as hard as you think for a good race car driver.
I would go with Joey Gase, but that's the only race car driver I can
wouldn't go
think
with
of.
him.
I was going to say, wasn't Herbie
Bam! That's
the
my
food?
boy.
Yeah.
Herbie the Love Bug.
Oh my
He's got
gosh.
6 movies, a television shows, a TV movie. He dominated for 20 years.
Herbie the Love Bug.
Herbie the Love Bug, the greatest 53 driver of all time. Because you didn't even have to jump in. Herbie the Love Bug takes care of everything on his own. Put Don Knotts in that seat, and he's still going to win a freaking championship. I'm still going Don Drysdale, but I just wanted to bring up Herbie the Love Bug. Congratulations to you. I've been waiting on that one for a year. I saw it. I was like, ooh, 53. That'll be an interesting one. Slide that one over. But yeah, Herbie. How awesome is Herbie?
I love that movie.
Which one? You had 6.
The first one, when Herbie was introduced.
I've seen 1 or 2.
When he was driving him up on a like a car hauler or something?
I've seen the one where he
Herbie
wins
was awesome.
Monaco.
He always dominated. He's Herbie.
Well, yeah.
He's a Volkswagen Bug
Yes.
who dominated Ferraris. I don't know that it gets much better than that. But Don Drysdale is still the correct answer.
I might
for the
have to
record.
switch mine to Herbie. I think that's pretty
Herbie,
cool.
Herbie's a pretty good answer.
Herbie's
That's why
pretty
I was
good
waiting
answer.
for him to tell me about some driver that I've never heard of. Wrong.
That's,
So we
that's what I
got
was waiting on.
2 Drysdales and a Carson.
2 Drysdales and a Carson.
And a Joey Gase.
And a very honorable mention for Herbie.
Yeah, I like that. Honorable mention for Herbie. That's pretty cool. All right. We're going to have a little baseball talk coming up. Braves opening up tomorrow night. But let's get our last 2 commercials.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable work outing ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Access has their 3.5 Atlanta locations waiting for you in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile Axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at upcoming events and festivals, and look them up at American Access, or give them a call at 678-763-3635. That's right, 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
Looking for a ride that's more than just transportation? Experience the revolution in luxury travel with Revere Black Car Service. Whether it's a trip to the airport, corporate travel, weddings, daily commutes, or a ride to the KSU game, our Black Car Service delivers comfort, style, and reliability. Ride in a premium luxury vehicle with a professional chauffeur dedicated to exceptional service. Enjoy all the amenities while indulging in a first-class experience designed just for you. Whether you're heading to an important meeting, catching a flight, or celebrating a special occasion, Revere Transportation gets you there in style. Join the revolution and book your ride today at revererides.com. And we thank you, Travis Loudermilk and Dan Fisher, for being sponsors of 3 Guys Who Love Sports. And
I appreciate Mr. Loudermilk, but I'm a little more afraid of Dan Fisher since he is a awesome
Champion
axe
axe
thrower.
thrower,
So really want to thank you, Dan.
yes, yeah.
If ever there's somebody who you're supposed to stay on his good side, it should be a champion axe thrower.
Yeah.
Just seems normal to me. I don't know.
Hey, there's something. We could have Adam wear the headphones and see if Dan can throw the axe and cut off one headphone.
Oh,
No. Hard count.
Kind of like a William Tell.
Not happening.
William Tell with an axe.
William Tell with an axe.
Won't do it.
That's funny.
Next.
Yeah.
Check, please.
All right, so it's baseball season. Although the Dodgers are already 2-0 and the Cubs are 0-2, the official or unofficial, which is it? Opening day is tomorrow.
I only consider one opening day, and that's the Atlanta Braves. So whenever the Atlanta Braves, that's opening day as far
And
as I'm
that's tomorrow
concerned.
at 4 o'clock.
That is correct.
4:10 or something like that out on the left coast. So what do you think about the Braves this year, Robert?
You know, I've thought for the last 3 years we don't have enough pitching. We still added absolutely 0 pitching, so I'm going to go with my regurgitated thought of still not enough pitching. But when you look at Vegas, and once again, the guys out in the desert aren't rich and don't pay light bills because they don't know what's going on. They got the Braves as the second favorite to win the World Series. So we're going to have a good team. A couple weeks ago, I thought there was a good chance that Ronald Acuna would be back end of April, beginning of May, and Strider would be more like June. But
Now it looks like Strider's going to be back.
now it
before
looks
Acuna.
like those guys have
back April,
flip-flop. Well, Strider actually pitched in a game, had 6 strikeouts, looked great. Acuna still hasn't made the field, so
So why do you think they have the Braves so high? I mean, I know they went through a lot of injuries last year, and that was really, really bad for them. But, I mean, I think their glaring weaknesses are shortstop, left field, bullpen, and who's going to catch?
okay, well, Sean Murphy's should be back in 2 weeks or something like that. But, when you look at
But lost most of the bullpen, right?
I'm
Lost
sorry?
2 or 3 pitchers out of the bullpen.
we've lost a lot out of the bullpen. There's no doubt about that. But when you look at, I'm just trying to pull this up. I did this a few years ago for a buddy, actually before we had a show, with Acuna, Freeman, Riley, and Albies. And the same thing holds true now. Ozzie Albies would be the best player probably on 15 different teams in Major League Baseball. He's probably our fourth best player. But, you know, if you put him on the Royals or the Pirates or the Twins or the
Mariners.
Tigers,
Oh, wait, no,
Mariners.
not Julio,
Well,
actually,
but Julio's
Maybe.
up and down, so that'd be a close call. So it's we have so much here. Our cup runneth over so much that sometimes it's hard to look at. And, you know, Matt Olson, did he have a great, incredible year last year? No. But at the same time, his not great year was 29 homers and 98 RBIs, which still tells you, okay, well, he was horrible with that. What's a good year look like with him? And so we have a lot of bats, and we can score a lot of runs.
We're probably going to have to until the pitching gets settled, right?
Right now we're hoping for Strider, 4 days of rain, and then Strider again. So, you know, but that could happen.
Yeah. And speaking of the Seattle, I saw Ichiro is going to have his jersey retired.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought he already did.
Why wouldn't he have? You know, it's,
I don't know. It took so long.
but
Are you going for that?
No, I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, okay.
But-
There's so many dumb things in sports and music. I heard one the other day. Bad Company is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's the first time they've ever been nominated. How is it the first time Bad Company has ever had an opportunity? You know, so sometimes when you think, well, how's that number not retired, or how's that band not? Sometimes it's just dumb people doing dumb things.
What's your favorite Bad Company song?
Probably Shooting Star, but you know, man, I'll go with some Seagull. Seagull, you fly. I mean, I don't know.
Silver, Blue, and Gold is mine.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that.
I love me some Paul Rogers.
Yeah, good band. Mike, are you as big a baseball fan as you are a football?
No, definitely a bigger football fan. But I've followed it more recently too, just with the Braves' success. Like, it's been fun to follow them the last few years. And the Mariners, when they signed Julio, or when they drafted Julio and they brought him up, like, that was pretty exciting. So I've keep hoping one of these years they'll put something together. Like, it's funny, Robert was just saying about Matt Olson's down year. I was like, God, the Mariners would kill for that kind of production outside of Julio.
Correct, and that's the whole thing. And you know, if Olson has 2 decent months, you know, if he has a great June and July, those numbers where it's 29 and 90, oh my goodness, you know, those are 43 and 100 and 130. So,
but his first 2 months were the worst, right?
Correct.
And he just got warmed up in June.
Same kind of thing with Julio. Julio was horrible last year for the Mariners, Rodriguez, and ended up, you know, having a great August and September to make his stats look not so bad. But
What was his batting average to finish the season?
last
It
year he
wasn't very
batted
high.
273. But
He got
once-
it up to 273.
because he was on fire to end the year, you know, and he only ended up hitting 20 home runs. But once again, he hit 11 of them in the last 6 weeks. So we'll see what happens. Lots of stuff can happen.
Well, I like the Mariners, hopefully, to win the West. I know the Rangers look pretty good, but I feel like the Astros run is coming to an end. How do you feel about that, Robert? We've talked about this before.
You
I
know-
feel like their window's closing.
Oh, absolutely. Altuve can't play second. Bregman's gone.
Went to
Correa.
Boston, is that where he went?
Correct. Carlos Correa left a couple of years ago. So, you know, the core of that World Series team is dissipating quickly.
One of the coolest things I saw, though, did you see the clip of the, I guess their number 1 pick or whatever, their top draft prospect?
For Houston?
Yeah. They had his mother come into the locker room and tell him he made the 20 club opening day roster.
Oh, yeah. That's Cam Smith.
Cam Smith, yeah. That
Yeah,
was
I
really
always get
cool,
that
yeah.
confused because that's the golfer.
He's a great golfer.
Yeah. It turns out he might be
he
plays
nice
on-
at third
he
base.
plays on-
too.
He's not a great golfer.
He plays on the Live League, which is why Chuck doesn't like him. But he's a good golfer. He won the British Open not
I
that long
believe I
ago.
called him Mullet
Won the
Man for
TPC
years,
one
right?
year,
Yes.
too, yeah. Huh?
Mullet Man.
Yeah.
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 He put on a
So-
putting clinic that day he won the Open, too.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
That was
But you know, there's a second one. He might play third base for the Stros. But it's fun at this point because you know even the Pirates think they got a chance. They don't, but they think they do because you know they have.
Who really doesn't have a chance is Tampa Bay. I've heard that they can't even sell out an 11,000 seat stadium.
It's so bad down there, and everybody knew it when they built that stadium, Tropicana. They built it on the wrong side of the bridge. So if you're familiar with that area, they're on the Clearwater, St. Pete side. All the people live on the other side, and if they were if 15 miles away on the other side of the bridge, they'd have some people, but they don't.
Yeah.
And so they pay no money
So
because
this,
they have
this
no
stadium's
attendance.
right across the street, basically from Raymond James Stadium, where the Bucks play.
The new, correct.
Yeah.
I think the only team that's been eliminated so far is the White Sox. Didn't they have like 120 losses last year?
It is Vegas's longest shot. The worst,
mean,
the
that's
worst
awful.
odds is the Chi Sox.
So do you think the Braves are going to take the East?
I do.
Yeah,
I have to think that. I'm a fan.
I just think they've got too many holes to be number 2 overall. I think there's just too many questions. I think the Phillies are going to come back and win. Of course, the Mets signed Castro. Is that right? No, he went to the
Soto.
Yankees, right? Soto. Yeah.
One of those O's.
Fidel Castro. That's what I was thinking.
I pulled something up the other day, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It was football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, and it was the how they get their money. So the NFL's worth $18.7 billion, but they get 66% of that from the TV deal.
Yeah.
So even if nobody goes to the games, they still got a lot of money. Baseball's the opposite. Baseball is 31% dependent on people showing up to games. So, and they're 10.9 as opposed to 18.7. So, baseball's got a lot of stuff to figure out. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago with no salary cap and how teams are supposed to compete. But when you look at, butts and chairs is the only way. That's why those Chi Sox in Tampa and Pittsburgh and because they're not putting butts and chairs, and you got to have butts and chairs to be able to hit that payroll. Unless you're the Dodgers, in which case you just print money. It really doesn't matter.
Keep handing it out. They literally could go 7 or 8 deep with their pitching staff.
They could, but they're phenomenal. That starting pitching staff and that bullpen. I was looking at their starting lineup, and outside of them poaching Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani, there isn't a lot left on that lineup. So, our hitters are much better in Atlanta than theirs are there. Now, whether it ever happens or it comes to that because of how good their starting pitching is, I don't know. But they're not as loaded as we want to make them sound, when you look at that lineup.
The Dodgers you're talking
The
about.
Dodgers.
So do you still like the Dodgers in the National League?
Well, I have to pick the Braves, but if the Braves didn't exist, yes, I would definitely take the Dodgers because they have so much, But once again, when you look at that lineup, their catcher is Will Smith. I like him a lot. He's their only
Great actor.
outside of that
Independence Day, one of my
slap.
favorites.
Something about a slap, though,
Outside of
right?
that slap, but there's not a lot, Conforto.
So I think we'll all agree there's only one team coming out of the Central in the National League, right? It's going to be the Brewers or the Cubs or
Cubbies,
somebody, but
yeah.
there's not a lot of
Pirates.
talent.
Pirates in an upset.
But at the same time, if the Mets, Phillies, or Braves get on a really good roll and beat up those other teams a lot, then it's real easy or very difficult for a second team to make it in. If you're a decent team in that bad division, you might be able to beat up on people and somehow get a wild card. I know a couple years ago I thought they were the worst division in baseball, and they still got all the wild cards.
So there's 6 in each league, right? 6 teams make the playoffs? Isn't
That is
right?
correct.
So I think 3 East, 1 Central, and 2 West. Probably the Padres and the Dodgers.
I don't know. We shall see. I don't think it'll be the Rockies.
No, I do. I think Cincinnati.
Marlins.
I love De La Cruz. I love to watch him play.
I was able to draft him with my second round pick this year.
Did you really?
Very
Very
excited
cool.
about that. But yeah, he's phenomenal. But do you have to pitch to him? If there's nobody around him, aren't you an idiot? I saw something I thought really interesting. It was a interview where they asked Chipper Jones who the best player he ever saw, was, and he said, it's not even close. It's Bonds. He said Bonds is playing at a galactic level, and the rest of us are all down here on Earth. And he kind of mentioned, you might not like him or something, but this guy used to only get one strike a game. They'd walk him, and then he gets one strike, and he hits it 500 feet. It's mind-boggling, but you never know. You never know what could happen.
So, who do you like in the National League? You like the Braves?
I hate to say it. I think the Dodgers go back to the World Series.
Yeah.
I hope the Braves, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going Dodgers. But right, Robert, you're going Braves?
I'm definitely going Braves.
Okay. Well, who are the Dodgers or Braves going to face?
I was thinking about this. I have a weird feeling somebody's coming out of the Central.
Really?
I don't know why. I was looking at some of the expert picks today, and a lot of people seem big on the Red Sox or the Rangers, but there was a lot of different picks as far as like when it came to who's going to win the Central, but they were all pretty good. Like Indians, Tigers. I think the Royals were there too.
You
and
mean,
I thought,
you mean the Guardians?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes, the Guardians.
You know how politically correct we are on the show.
Yeah.
My apologies. And I think the Minnesota Twinkies were on there too, as my dad calls them. I don't know. I just feel like one of them's going to get hot. Maybe the Guardians. Excuse me, Guardians.
The tribe's the best team
tribe
there.
will work, yeah.
Tribe's the best team in the Central, but it's a long season, so
Yeah.
Do the White Sox have a chance?
they are the last place team by all metrics before the season
I
starts.
know they had the worst season in baseball history last year.
And they have no reason to be optimistic. They didn't add anything.
Their goal is to win one more game than they did last year.
They didn't add Castro or Soto.
You know who won't be there from the American League? The Mariners, because they're the only team that's never made a World Series.
Yeah, oh, really?
They're not going to do it this year.
Yeah. I've got a little bit of a surprise, and you mentioned them, but I don't know if it's because I just went there, but they got
a lot of
Bregman
players.
from Houston, and the people up in Boston are very excited about their Red Sox. I
Which
thought
they always
Baltimore,
are.
yeah, that's true. I thought Baltimore, Dodgers, but if I have to take a long shot, I'm going to go Red Sox.
The Red Sox is like a popular pick.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a long shot it is, though. What are the Vegas odds?
Vegas. What does Vegas say about those guys?
Make Robert do so much work.
I know.
He's got the screen in front of him.
I got this. I got that. Why don't you ask me something I know? Let's see. According to Vegas, currently we have Dodgers, Braves, Yankees, Phillies, Mets, Stros, O's,
Okay, so now.
and Red Sox are eighth.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're right there. I mean, as far as Vegas goes with odds and
I'll
stuff.
go Baltimore or Boston taking a coin flip, and the Dodgers.
It seems like the Red Sox, though, to your point, had a good offseason.
Yeah.
Well, they added
So-
Bregman, and they've got a rookie who did make opening lineup, Christian Campbell, and depending on what he does, he's got a lot of upside.
Is his nickname Soup?
He is not nicknamed Soup.
He should be.
You should be.
He's missing an opportunity there.
Be funnier. You should get an NIL deal with
Maybe he
Campbell's
should-
soup.
Maybe he should be Warhol. Could be that.
Could be.
Yeah, I'm a little confused myself, but I'm going to say from the AL, I'll go the O's.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for the O's. Gunnar Henderson's not healthy to start the year. They had a lot of people who they brought up last year with Mayo and a few other people who fell a little short, hoping they have a rebounding sophomore season and are able to beat the dreaded Yankees.
Mayo and Soup. Are we talking food or are we talking baseball?
Was it? Anybody but the Yankees.
Yeah, like I said, Baltimore. I think I took Baltimore last year, but against the Padres. But I'll go Dodgers and Red Sox, just so Robert and I won't have the same one, because I'm really a coin flip there. But Dodgers winning it in 5
Go
games.
Dodgers,
to win.
Guardians.
And Guardians win.
Who wins, Indians or the Guardians?
I think Dodgers repeat.
Yeah.
I liked your question. Who wins? Indians or Guardians? The Tribe. I'll go 3.
Yeah. So you're going Dodgers and Orioles. I mean Braves and Orioles.
Braves O's.
And Braves win it all.
Braves are winning it all. Acuna is going to dominate baseball. He won't win an MVP because he's going to miss a month, but he's going to be like 3rd in the running. So, even with only 5 months, he's still going to be dominating.
Man, I hope so. That 2021 season was so much fun.
Yeah.
Without Acuna.
Good point. Yeah.
Braves won it all without their best player. It goes to show you how wishy-washy this stuff is. If we can't win without him. Now, actually, we did win without him. When he had the greatest season out of the last 30, we did not win with him. So,
Forgot about that.
It's always crazy.
It's amazing how just the team, some team just gets hot at the right moment. Like I felt like 2 years ago, wasn't it the Rangers and Diamondbacks?
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks.
I think
nobody saw
I
coming.
think both had the wild card. They just got hot.
Yeah, Diamondbacks surprised everybody. Rangers were a decent team that just maybe underperformed a little bit, but nobody saw. I think Arizona had the last spot in the wild card that year.
Yeah.
Which just like football, if you're the last wild card spot, that means you've probably been in playoff mode for 6 weeks. So they were pumping on all cylinders.
Yeah. All right. Got anything else? I got a good trivia question.
Bring it.
I saw it today, and I meant to ask earlier during the football segment, but I'll go ahead and do it. There's only one quarterback in Atlanta that has ever led the NFL in touchdown passes for a year. Do you know who that is?
Matt Ryan, 2016. No?
His
It's
MVP year,
not
he did not.
Scott Campbell.
I don't believe it's Barkowski. I'm going to go with
Probably not
Miller
Vic.
time.
It is Steve Bartkowski.
It was Barkowski.
31 in 1980 or 81. But the only Falcon quarterback ever to lead the league in touchdown passes.
Wow.
Greatest Pollock ever to don a Atlanta uniform.
The golden pole. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, kid went to Cal. I mean, he was a stud. He was, one of those teams that you love to hate out in the old pack. But yeah.
One of the nicest guys too.
Very nice guy. Very
good
nice
fella.
guy. And luckily he had the Alford brothers.
Yeah. Jackson and Jenkins.
That's it.
Yeah. He threw some good people.
I would have guessed Matty Ice dropped like 35 touchdown passes his MVP season.
And
He might
probably
have,
did.
but he probably did. But he didn't lead.
Oh,
the
didn't
league.
lead the league. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Key words.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mikey, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey,
good
thanks,
to see you
thanks
as
for
always.
having me.
Robert,
always a
good show.
pleasure.
We'll see you in 4 weeks for your
draft,
For your
yeah.
draft.
Mike are going to be joining us for the draft. So we got 3 spots left. If you want to draft a team or a player for the top 10 picks on April 23rd, come join us. But until then, guys, know your numbers, cover your ass. Don't forget to get that prostate check. We'll see you next week. That was fun.
I always get to come on Fun Ones. We do predictions, like we did Super Bowl prediction, then we did the AFC West prediction.
Oh, right. I was being quiet because last week I watched the show afterwards and it was like we were still live for like the first few seconds after that. Right after the show, Greg Fuller was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "You weren't late." I was like, "Oh shit, that's still on." Better be quiet for a
As long
minute.
as you don't do the Bill O'Reilly, we'll fucking do it live. Have you seen that one where he's like, I don't think he was at Fox News yet, but he was like, somebody.
Trade of
You
your
go with
pick
the
at
team
4
that's-
o'clock
the
on
team, yeah.
Wednesday.
So if you're the sixth,
You're the
Falcons
sixth
trade
pick,
Detroit, you
no
have
matter
Detroit.
what it is.
Okay. So you draw on the show the week before. You said.
We draw it the week before,
Okay.
and you'll know who you are. I think we've only had one pick change in the 2 years that we've been doing it, but somebody,
We have one change.
I think there was one pick. It wasn't much, like the 9th pick was this and is now that, and it didn't happen the day of, so it wasn't that big.
So now we're down to 3 people that we need as GMs.
Yeah, this draft is going to be interesting. Like, I don't know. I felt like last year the mock drafts were, as the closer we got, were more consistent. They're all over the place.
Oh, absolutely.
I saw something that said Travis Hunter will definitely be drafted by the Giants now that they have Jameis Winston. That way he can play offense or defense depending on what
Oh,
Jameis is throwing.
I saw that.
Hey, need you to play defense.
That was funny.
Well, they signed Russell.
Yeah,
So
and they have Jameis.
yeah, I don't know why they brought in Russell to back up James.
I don't think that's
like
going to be
you-
the order of that.
I wonder if you think they were just tired of waiting on Aaron, or they just knew something, like Aaron's going to sign
to the
Pittsburgh.
Steelers. His only option is the Steelers.
Tennessee's still available now.
That still blows my mind.
I don't think the Steelers will take him. I think the Steelers have.
The Steelers don't have a quarterback on the roster.
I'm not saying they're ready for the season. I'm
love Kenny
saying
Pickett going to
I'm
Cleveland
saying
as
that
much as
blue
they yell
collar
at him.
town
No,
can't
it's
deal
right.
with
God, he could be a starter, honestly.
all that bravado.
Yeah.
What up, Will?
Hit it.
I loved your seersucker outfit on Sunday.
I had to look up seersuckers.
That was awesome.
Whoa, Larry. Okay. I've noticed a few that was fun. Thanks as always for having me on. Appreciate it.
You're a great guest. We love to have good people on. We've got it down to now. We've got like 8 people that we want to have on. Because at first we were like, let's get somebody new every week.
Right.
People don't know what they're talking about and stuff. And the show's nowhere near as much fun if you have to pick up the guests all the time.
Right.
So we're in good shape.
Oh, that's right. Robert's going straight dessert.
He goes. That goes
yeah.
there. Yeah. I get the Mimi's.
Oh, we made the Cobb salad.
The svelte Larry Block got the cops out.
It's across here for you. Works.
How's the Kennesaw baseball team doing so far?
They're 10 and 15, but they're ranked
Okay.
70th in the country. In 5 games under 500. They were very, very
Oh,
tough
like a very
schedule.